Welcome to Copilots, the podcast where we watch not just the first episode of a show,
but also the second. Some shows don't have the best pilot episode, and giving it that second chance might just change your mind.
Here we take that chance for you, and let you know our opinion on if a show deserves more than one shot.
I'm Justice. Alongside me is my co-pilot, Josh. Now, let's get ready for takeoff. Your in-flight entertainment this time will be Ghosts.
So Ghosts is a sitcom
Yes.
from 2019, and I believe it was produced by the BBC.
Yeah, that is true.
Broadcast on BBC One, yep.
Yep, however, that is not the Ghosts we watched. We watched Ghosts, the US version of the UK sitcom, which premiered in 2021.
That seems purposely obtuse.
Yeah, it
Why-
just required less effort to watch.
Why do we, as a country, actively steal shows from Britain and then not even rename them a little bit to make it easier to figure out which one?
Like, on the streaming service when we're looking things up, I saw Ghosts, the US version, and then I saw Ghosts UK, and I was like, weird, they took one of our sitcoms. And then I looked at it. No. Streaming service just branded the original version, the UK one. Literally not even like Ghosts, parentheses, UK version underneath like the title. The thumbnail had changed to incorporate a big yellow UK after Ghosts.
It's like Ghost BC.
Yeah.
Do you think? No, the show came out in 2019. Never mind.
We're gonna make a Ghost BCU joke.
I was wondering if the show was why Ghost had to have...
No. Also, Ghosts, not Ghost.
Fair enough. So it's a US sitcom based off of the British sitcom
Yeah.
that debuted 2 years after the British sitcom.
Yeah.
So it debuted in 2021.
Yep. October 7th, 2021.
Oh, it was a Halloween show.
Yeah. I have no idea what it premiered on, but that's when it premiered.
I think it was CBS.
I don't fucking know, man. For all I know, it originally premiered on a streaming service.
Yeah, it was on CBS.
Okay. Anyways, though, the actual show, we should probably get to that part.
Yeah, we should get to that part. Although, before we get to that part, it's still being slated for new season. Season 4 starts October 17th, 2024.
Oh, neat.
So,
I didn't know.
If you're hearing this before October 17th and you want to binge and catch up, it's all available on, I think, Paramount Plus.
Amazon Prime, I think, is where we watched it.
That makes sense, too.
Yeah, we just had to watch with ads.
Because it was through Paramount Plus on Amazon.
Okay.
That's why.
Fair enough.
That's why.
But Ghosts, Episode 1, Pilot. So we start the show with a bunch of people standing around a bed as a woman dies. And then up from her bed raises a hazy image version of her. And she's just like, who are all of you people? To which they then explain that they are ghosts. Souls trapped to linger here until basically the complete heat universe.
Till who
Death
knows when.
and-
They don't know and we don't know. And while they're giving her the spiel about what ghosts are and introducing themselves to her, she ascends.
Yeah, and there's like, damn, lucky her. Well, one of them is. We have a plethora of a cast of ghosts going on already.
There's like 8 of them or something, and
Yeah, it's a bunch. We have a New Orleans style jazz singer or lounge singer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the vibe I get from her, and she does talk about New Orleans, so I'm not just assuming things. We have a Revolutionary War general, captain, some man of rank. We have, I don't know, like in maybe late 1700s, early 1800s, matriarch of this home who lived here. We have a Native American man who lived here, who assumably was...
She would have been late 1800s because
Okay.
she is the great-grandmother of our main character.
Okay. Then we have a hippie who wandered onto the property and was killed by a bear that they tried to befriend because they were high on drugs. We have a businessman, like late 80s, early 90s businessman, who apparently died without his pants on.
No, he's the newest ghost, so he's like probably in the 2000s.
From all of his references are from like the late 80s, early 90s, so I don't know.
And
he talks about coke a lot.
And he's definitely like the finance bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have a guy who I don't think we ever get the name of or anything besides one bit of, who is a 50s style greaser who has just had his head completely chopped off.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, because we have one bit where he gets his head knocked off. Before that, it just looked like he had his throat slit. Then he gets bumped into and his head falls off. And then we have a Viking, Thorfinn, and a Boy Scout troop leader who has been killed via arrow through neck. And I think that's it for the majority of our main ghosts. I can't think of any of the others.
You're forgetting the Native American.
But that is our intro to the show. And then we cut to our two main characters, Sam and Jay, a young New York couple, and they are being informed that Sam's relative died and has left her a mansion.
And they're sitting in this office with the lawyer who is letting them know that they've inherited this mansion. And the husband of the two, Jay, is like, well, how much could we get for it if we sell it?
Yeah. And she's just like, well, we haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah, so they decide to go up for the weekend, check it out, decide if...
They don't straight up decide to go. He's trying to talk about potentially selling it, and the executor of the will, the solicitor involved, mentioned something like how it has potential value as being multiple different things, and one of the things he says is a B&B, to which Sam is immediately like, oh, we could open up a B&B, we could run it, it'd be great. You're a cook, it'd be great, you could just run your own thing there. And he's like, no, let's calm down. Let's just not dive headfirst into things, you do that a lot.
And she's like, yeah, but like, you're a cook, so that's already half of a B&B, and I can
It's so crowded in the city, and we have no space, we live in a little, like, shoebox.
And I can write freelance articles from anywhere, so it doesn't like I have to give up my job, so we even have a way to, like, fund ourselves while we're getting this started up. And she's like, and you have to admit, I'm annoyingly correct.
Yes. And then they decide to go up on the ad season. I thought I would mention the whole B&B thing because it is the main point of contention between the two. Ongoing plot, because I would assume we stay with the ghosts.
So, we cut back to the ghosts.
Yes.
And they're doing something apparently they do every day, where one of them gets up and, like, gives a presentation.
Yeah.
Which is an issue because part of the knowledge of the party requires something that actors, and most of them don't even know what actual movies are. Yeah.
And he's eventually like, whatever, fuck it. It was a dope party. Because he's explaining the party that he went to. And then arrives Sam and Jay. They're like, they all seem to be okay with them existing. They're like, man, at least we know, like, the house is getting torn down and stuff like that, basically. And they seem to be okay with Sam and Jay as people. And now they're going to do the fun thing of watching livings, as they call it. Watch, because anyone's... They're all on board with those two until Sam mentions about how it definitely would work as a B&B or a hotel.
Yeah, and specifically, they're arguing about whether or not they're going to stay or not.
Yes.
And Sam's like, but it's going to make a perfect... What is this bed and breakfast?
Yes.
And so they're like, it's like a hotel. And
these like hypothetical situations of these ghosts existing in a space if it was run at like a hotel, like a busy hotel. And Thorfinn's moment is just great because it's just a guy walking around outside and then he drops a piece of trash and then Thorfinn just stares at it and then bellows, why?
Because the trash can is like 3 feet away.
He's gesturing to it after saying why.
He's like, the trash can is right over there. Why?
Yeah. And then they mentioned that they would also definitely experience a ghost can ever have. Which makes me question, are they sure about that? Exercised.
Well, we hadn't mentioned this yet, but right? And then she starts burning the sage. They're like, actually, that smells really nice. Hey, don't come back here. We don't go. Like,
and as they're following her out of the room, we get a statement from Flower. The hippie just being like, "Let me have a hit of that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with them knowing, with the ghosts knowing that Jay and Sam plan to open a B&B.
Yes. Kind of powers, a way to affect the mortal world around them.
Do they all have powers?
Not. The Native American character that we don't see them do anything.
No.
Thorfinn was killed by lightning.
Yeah, he has the most impressive power.
And now he can affect electricity. Not a lot, but he can make lights flicker
Can
and such.
you imagine how many hundreds of years he had to exist before he even realized he had a power?
Right.
And beyond that, do you think he understands what his power actually is?
Oh god, no. No, I don't think so. So Thorfinn, the plan is for them all to do what they can to scare them away. Thorfinn is going to mess with the lighting. Like a
And it's not really even her singing. She can only hum for the living.
Well, her singing comes off.
She can't.
Revolutionary War officer who apparently died of dysentery. So when people walk through him, it smells fucking awful, apparently.
And lastly, we have Trevor, who
has the most astounding power of them all, according to everyone else. Pushes it so gingerly and so lightly that the teacup falls off the table and is perfectly fine.
I had a teacup fall off the counter this morning.
Was it perfectly fine?
No.
Maybe you should have spent like 5 minutes trying to push it with your gross powers.
I didn't try to push it. Things fell on top of me and then fell. So it's a teacup, and then it shattered. And then it shattered.
Yeah. Upside porcelain generally breaks clean. That was a huge mess.
It was sad though. It was one of my favorite teacups.
Yeah. And there was no tea in it. And so their plan is for them all to use their powers to scare them, like we said.
I will say, as much as I think Thorfinn's power is the most impressive in a vacuum, his power doesn't actually seem impressive in the house currently, because you would expect the electricity to be...
Oh, yeah. Everyone's power except for Trevor's can be attributed to old house. Bad smell, old house. Weird sounds, old house settling. Random objects moving on their own, harder to attribute to old house, unless you
creates like a shift in the
plane of the house.
Yeah, which causes something to fall off.
Fair. But yeah, none of their powers affect anything at all. Thorfinn uses his lightning powers, and Jay's just like, man, gonna do that fix too.
Yeah, so
they walk,
how it starts is the hot water is out too now. I'm gonna go fix that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a hot shower and
back upstairs. Still cold.
Well, before that. And he's like yelling to Sam about how the hot water's out, and then the light above him starts flickering. He's like, "Great, gonna get."
Trying, and he's trying, and he's trying, but he fails to do so before they walk away.
And so, as they walk away, Jay goes down to the where we are shown that there's a bunch more ghosts in the basement who, I guess, just can't leave the basement, or
they just don't.
Yeah.
Given all of the heightened personalities.
Oh, thank God there's light. And so he starts messing with the water heater, and they're like, oh, this isn't going to end well. He doesn't know what he's doing.
That's not going to work at all. What are you doing?
And so they get ready after messing with the water heater.
Walks out, and they're like, oh, good, he left the light on. And then he turns around and he's like, I almost forgot. And then more like easily bare minimum 15.
There's like at least 6 or 7. It's a crowd.
Yeah. Beiges, gray, smocks.
Yeah. Something we didn't mention was during the first scene of Sam and Jay being here, Jay walks through one of the ghosts on his way out of the room.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was. And then goes, oh shit, I forgot my jacket. Turns around and goes back into the room, walks through the ghost again.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I found my jacket.
I believe it's Pete. And I believe that's when Pete bumps into Greaser Guy head falls off. And then we see him stumble around after people.
Yeah.
He doesn't do much throughout either of these two episodes besides exist.
It should also be noted that
And terrify people later.
it should also be noted that the ghosts, while they've all agreed to haunt Sam and Jay, they have different.
Kind of vaguely. They mainly just wanted to not be an Airbnb.
Yeah, okay, so
Well, not an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast.
it becomes different goals after the end of this episode.
Yeah.
That's right. So Jay messed with the water heater, comes back up to take a shower. Water's still cold. He's complaining about it, and Sam's like, we're going back to New York.
Very adamant about selling, and Sam just really wants a place of their own.
And while this is going on,
they're gone. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Trevor's just like, no. This is
me. Gotta prove I can do it.
yeah, which honestly, I kind of understand it.
And so, really, it's my house anyways. It's not yours.
Yeah, and
it's not. Trevor manages to poke the vase and knock it over, and it's sitting right at the top of the staircase.
she doesn't see it.
It feels exactly like intentionally being human. But unlike Sally, Sam doesn't die. Well, that's not true. She does die.
For 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And so
He runs to her, is trying to talk to her, then the screen goes all wiggly wild.
and she can see Pete and Trevor at the top of the stairs.
Mhm.
And then we get the scene of them loading her into an ambulance.
We're at the hospital where we see Jay sitting at the side of the bed.
Hetty, the
She's like, you just killed my descendant.
You just killed my great granddaughter. And Trevor's like, I didn't intentionally do it.
Yeah.
It was an accident. Like, I didn't want to kill her. I never intentionally.
The home.
She never calls Sam her great granddaughter, but later. He says, I found this portrait of your great grandfather.
Okay.
But he could be.
Where we see Jay sitting at the upset.
And there's a doctor there, and he's got his hand on Jay's shoulder, and he's like, I'm sorry I have to break the news to you like this. I wish there was something I could do.
And then Sam gets pushed into the room on a wheelchair. Just like, says something like, I think it's sports team for some sports. We're waiting, they know super close, and they just. To which the doctor nods in commiseration and empathy, and Sam's perfectly fine after her 2-week coma, because all she
with the ghosts while she was in coma, where Pete talks about how he was killed.
Oh, yeah.
And how right before he got killed, him and his wife got in an argument, and he doesn't even remember what it was about.
And it's the worst thing that could happen.
And then he does remember what it was about. She ate all the donut.
And she doesn't even like donut holes.
Why? She did it just as... Yeah. And the orphan's like, what is a donut hole? Donut. Thorfinn.
Yeah. So then we see Sam and Jay in the car, and they're driving along. They pull up outside the Met.
We are.
So I kind of did a thing. I talked to a bunch of contractors about the house.
I want you to know, fucking stupid conversation.
Yeah.
Not because of anything that happens from this point on. He's like, we are. She knew they weren't going to their apartment an hour and a half ago.
To the manor. Who knows?
They were in New York City in the hospital.
Were they sitting?
Yeah, they transferred.
Okay.
You can see the skyline.
He's like, yeah, I did a thing.
He's like, turns out it's going to be way more expensive to turn this into an Airbnb than I thought. And she's like, yeah, I know, that's why we're not going to do it. Da-da-da-da-da. He's like, no.
We just have no savings anymore.
I maxed out all the credit cards.
Completely and utterly financially ruined.
I also cashed out my 401k, much to the chagrin of my...
What even is that? The ghosts. And the first one to spot them is Thorfinn, who's like, wait, look there! It's a ship, a land ship! Because he does not know what cars are.
Like, a horseless carriage, you moron.
Yes. And pulls up, we see a bunch of contractors coming in with them, and the ghosts are a mix of freaked because there are contractors coming in, and relieved, depending on which the ghost is, and their level of empathy, because hey, she's so there's a bunch of people. But Sam and Jay go upstairs where...
No, not yet. Because as there was a bunch of contractors coming in,
yeah.
Sam... to finally dress...
Yeah. Yeah, and then Jay pulls her along to go upstairs to the room that they were in.
And he runs off.
She definitely acknowledged me.
Yeah.
And in the room that they were sleeping in, Sam and Jay walk in, and Jay shows her that he painted the walls of canary yellow. And that's when he blew up and was like, not blew up, that's when he was like, didn't even talk to me, you're already deciding paint colors.
Use canary yellow sometimes,
yeah.
Which...
And he's like, hey, nice moment. And then from the closed door walks Hetty and other ghosts.
And she starts, like, freaking out with the ghost. She's like, yeah, yep. I guess the yellow... It was that bad?
They all are, and he starts to explain that they're ghosts, but then in walks the... So,
at the end of this episode, I am upset that Sam can see ghosts.
Yep.
Obviously, what I want out of the show is now going to be a different show than what the show ends up being, but I like the idea. I like
two kind of separate sitcoms juxtaposed against each other, where one is just a New York couple trying to run an Airbnb where sometimes some weird things happen they have to deal with, and then the other one is a meta commentary on their sitcom. Honestly, might be a weird statement. That one feels like it would be more British humor.
Yeah, it does. Which is weird that this is a British... Really wanted two separate running stories where the ghosts are actively trying to scare this couple out, but the couple are too obtuse to recognize that.
Yeah, where most of the time the ghosts are the B plot, and occasionally you're good than an A plot episode.
Yeah, like when the ghosts do something, the couple are like, "Oh, we gotta fix this now."
Yeah,
like that. That's what I wanted.
Honestly, fair. But what are your thoughts?
It's a disappointment, and I don't care about watching it anymore after this point. Because based on the description of the show and what I expected of the show...
Sounds even worse than what I was hoping you were going to tell me it was about, which is that it's about lawyers, but more particularly where they get generally contracts with like these high business, high energy law firms, and just kind of his interactions having to deal with those types. And like there might be a few plot points where like there's this one really bad law firm where he like accidentally fucks something up, then like you break contract, and they're trying.
That said, I do love Suits. Like,
I think I like mine more.
That's exactly where I'm at with Ghosts.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, I wouldn't watch any more of this if it wasn't for the podcast. At this point, I'd be like, I'm gonna go check the UK one out, see if that actually holds true to the premise.
I guarantee you it doesn't.
No, obviously not.
Though I would to see what regional ghosts the UK version replaces the US versions with. Like, what characters basically got cut.
The native, like, where we have the native...
Revolutionary General.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It was called the Union twice, wasn't it? War?
Me too.
But, yeah.
I just said the wrong thing.
It was just the revolutionaries. I can't think of like any term that other has been used, but I don't know. And like maybe the hippie. I mean, you could still do a hippie. It is very like 70s flower power, 60s, 70s flower power, American hippie the way she's done. You can obviously still have a Viking, but it feels less fun to be in the British version.
Feels like, because Vikings belong anywhere along the Atlantic.
Yeah.
The Vikings are just like, we were everywhere at one point or another, we just didn't stay anywhere.
Fair. Well, who do they replace the Boy Scout troop leader? Because my understanding, the Boy Scout.
A priest, same function.
Yeah. Never mind.
Sorry, Pete's done nothing for me to give him that. Pete has been a decent character.
Yeah.
But
change it for another neat bad character.
no idea.
Like a late 60s Brit punk.
No idea.
On that note, I would probably still watch more of this. I do think the version you
The version
bid for,
the version in my brain.
yes, does, and it's mildly amusing, and I could see it going well.
Hello.
Is it me you're waiting for?
No, it's not.
Oh,
So-
okay. So you continue the podcast.
I mean, you're already here. Why would I be waiting for you? Anyways, this episode starts immediately the next day after up to a mysterious noise in her bathroom.
So in and pulls the curtain to the bathroom.
Was kind of broken out, and there was a bird in that room as well.
Yeah. So she's surprised and then relieved that it's just a bird.
And then she turns around, shock, and she freaks out,
Screams.
grabs a toilet brush, trying to hit Pete.
Yeah.
And Pete turns and walks back through the door.
Walks another correct term. Pete does not have the correct venue. Pete screams and runs down. Yeah.
That door is a solid piece of oak. It's not like modern doors of oak and then maybe solid. It's the type of door you could smash.
What they're gonna do? Like, we should force them out, and others are like, I mean, she can see us. Maybe we could talk to her.
Because like Thorfinn is still in the murder the invaders story. That's his.
Sam.
Yeah. And like.
Yes. And then we cut to Sam, who has run back to Jade to inform him, I still see ghosts. And Jade's just like, look, the doctor said you might still have a concussion. This might just be a residual effect. You could be seeing things or hearing things.
And also,
it's all fine.
and also.
Yes.
And because he can't see them, she starts describing them to him.
Yeah.
And
she's like, there's a Viking, a hippie, a guy, which immediately upsets Isaac because apparently he hated Alexander Hamilton.
surrendered that fort to the British. You did it. And
Yeah.
then didn't you die 2 weeks later from dysentery?
He's like, that doesn't matter. Yeah. Which is more likely? The fact that you are seeing ghosts, or the fact that I think that's been one of the things that I don't think we've talked about a lot.
Mhm.
I think it's been one of the best things. The ghosts do have a lot of physical comedy
Yeah.
with their reactions. It's pretty nice. And he points at the picture of Hetty's husband, as you said.
Yeah.
To which she's then horrified when she sees it, Hetty, not Sam. And she's like, what the fuck is that picture doing down here? Why?
So Sam goes to lie down, and Jay heads towards the bedroom that Hetty currently uses because the ghosts still sleep.
Yes.
And he has an electric girl, which Sam...
You have to make sure both of those things work the way this.
of men? A cave of men?
And then he goes to drill a hole in the wall, and the wall is so old, and he is so bad at what he's doing that he's a. And Eddie's being like, "What are you doing, you fool?" And he's like, "It's fine, I got this." And then Flower pops up in the other room. Roommates now. This is gonna be great.
Yes.
And Jay just immediately gives up, and she's like, ah. Yeah.
Actively stopped it from being turned into a B&B, and they decide they just won't let her ignore them.
Yeah.
They'll just be as annoying as physically possible. As
they get to their conclusion, I believe, from Thorfinn talking about like not them until they. No, wait, he's right. She can't ignore us. So their goal is to just be annoying until she, at the very least, responds.
So for the rest of this period, they follow her around, constantly bothering her.
Mm-hmm.
Simply, she could go down to Nashville.
Okay,
That's what I meant.
As well.
Maybe.
Because she also talks about going there to look up someone as well.
Oh, yeah, okay. So who knows where she's from?
I assume she was a traveling singer.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's talking about possibly finding some suspects for her murder, because she's convinced she was murdered.
She died of a heart attack, but she's convinced that she couldn't have died of a heart attack because her life was fabulous, and thus her death must also be fabulous.
So clearly she was poisoned.
I do want to mention, and this isn't like a judgment call, I am also overweight. Terminology that is correct, and that would put strain on your heart, and it makes heart attack.
It doesn't help. Heart disease was more rampant.
Also, she was definitely a smoker. Like,
oh yeah, almost 100%.
Yeah, she's allowed.
So then Sam wakes up the next morning, and sitting next to her is Sassafras, the Native American ghost we were talking about, and he's very common, beyond death, and that it's a lot to take in, and he completely understands her ignoring everything. And hey, he's fine with it. It's interesting enough. He survived the boredom of the afterlife. Instigating little issues with the other ghosts to watch them freak out.
Specifically told Hetty that Alberta said something horrible about Hetty's hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sam just ignores him and heads into the living room.
Mm-hmm. Coveralls, actually.
Coveralls.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you, not overalls.
has a greasy beard, and then Jay walks in the room. He's like, "Oh, you've met? I don't remember his name. Yeah, you've met Steve. He's the TV guy. He's hooking up the." Since she hit her head, and she's like,
yeah. So she's already on the back foot trying to backpedal and make this a better interaction when Thorfinn walks in the room and he just starts threatening to murder all of them.
And then he sees the images on the TV because
the magical window.
Yeah, the magical window because Steve is like, "Hey, I also hooked you up with 3 or 6 months free of the sports package." So
yeah.
Enjoy that. And Jay was like, "Go ahead and pull it."
And he's flicking he's flicking through the
And he's like,
changes and he says something and Sam yells, "Oh my god!" at
well,
him.
the channel doesn't change. He doesn't say anything like that. They all leave the room. Thorfinn just is stuck staring at the TV.
Well, no. The channel is changing and he says something about the magical window. She yells, "Oh my god."
It's not because the TV.
Sam yells, "Oh my god," really exactly.
He's like, "Come on, guys! Turn the magic window."
And Isaac has enlisted Trevor with his special abilities to use Jay's laptop because Trevor has explained to him that it has access to all of the greatest in stocks, as Trevor puts it. That's what to look up everything he can about Alexander Hamilton. So he is slowly, with extreme effort, one button pushing Alexander Hamilton into some search engine. So then Jay walks in and he stares at the computer because he moves. And he's like, nah, and then leaves. So then in the kitchen, Sam's on her laptop, actively trying to ignore the more and more ghosts.
Yeah, and so Jay hollers up from the basement. He's like, "Hey, could you bring me a screwdriver?" But they stop short of going downstairs.
Yes, because they're all frustrated and they're like, she's like, "Oh, we're not going down there, never mind."
They're creepy.
Yes.
So Sam enters the basement. She sees all the ghosts that are in the basement for the first time.
Who have all apparently died of cholera.
I need to go back to the hospital.
And he's like, "Okay, that's fine." So he stops doing what he's doing, and they go to leave. And then all the ghosts start shouting that he needs to turn the red valve or things are going in very badly.
And they're very insistent, as Jay and Sam are getting ready to leave, that Sam's like, Jay needs to turn. So then we go back to the hospital, and Sam is explaining her situation to the older male doctor. She's like,
especially for people who are able to see ghosts, once they've been... She's like, yeah, it doesn't happen that often. The last time I think I saw a case for it was 8.
But...
And she's like, "Wait, what?" And then he stands up. He's like,
what they're doing to Sam is ethical. Is haunting and torturing this woman in an ethical way?
I'm fucking great at being a Viking.
And Saspia was like, I don't know if insane is worth what we're doing. This doesn't feel right.
And Isaac's just like, Musical. Me, I'm literally just a footnote in history that I mentioned once in the historical record. And it is literally a footnote.
It's also funny when it was mentioned earlier, when Hamilton was first
yeah.
And Isaac was like, Hamilton, not Pete, it was Trevor.
Also, in the background throughout all of this, Isaac has been played very foppish. Very much, like, secretly gay.
It's very much of a character from Archer seasons 1 through 4 here. About every third sentence Isaac says, somebody would go crazy.
Yes, and he very much appeals.
I was a great leader. All my men would attest that I wrote this.
He very much likes the look of Jay. Thinks Jay to be an excellent soldier with a... Because there's one mention when they were originally talking about fighting. Jay could, with that strapping physique of his, could easily take all of us on.
A good leader knows how to ride his men from the top.
Yes.
Yeah, all stuff like that. Just things that are obviously double entendres that nobody is referencing as double entendres.
Yes, which is also part of similarly the joke as to why he is more upset than the currency or counted. But then we are with Sam and Jay in the car back from the hospital.
Doctor said I was seeing ghosts too, and she's like, really? I don't think. And then she freaks out. On the street corner. It's a guy with a
giant steel girder sticking through his chest.
And she's like, see, they're everywhere, and waves at him, and he's like, there's nobody there.
And then she yells for him to stop because they almost hit two old people.
But they drive through the old people.
And they pull up to the mansion. Jay's just like, look, I will support you completely with whatever is going on, and I trust you. And then Pete pops up in the back of this sweet, touching thing to say. So Sam hurriedly leaves the other car, and Jay's just
house, and the ghosts are all in the foyer, and Sam walks in and she tells them, yes. And she's like, this is our house, and you all need to leave and go haunt someplace else.
And they all just start laughing. Like, don't you think if we could leave, we wouldn't have done so years ago? We are stuck at the location. We died. Maybe forever.
Yeah. And Hetty's like, maybe you and Jay can leave. And then Sam's like,
since you can.
She's like, sorry, Sam's like, no, this is our house. Thorfinn's like, for an hour a day, I want to see the Vikings on the magic in the magic screen.
And then and Amy. And that's gonna be like not gonna happen.
Isaac's like, I want you to write my autobiography.
And then get it adapted in.
And she's like, at first he's like, I heard you were a writer, so I want you to pin my autobiography for me. She's like, oh, that sounds intriguing. That's actually really cool. Stage musical, and she's like, we'll have to take it a step at a time.
Then Alberto's like, I want you to invite the descendants.
Like, also not happening.
And then Flower's like, I'm pretty simple. World peace will work.
Hetty's like, well, if you could remove my husband's picture, my cheating, philandering husband's picture from the hall, and then
fix the hole in the wall of my room.
I think that will be good.
And then Sasha's like, I want the entire Hudson Valley returned.
Henry's like, and she's like, oh, what do you want? He's like, I just wanted to say hi and welcome. And she goes, hi. And he goes, welcome.
Yep. So then Sam is trying to figure out a way to thoroughly convince Jay that she can see ghosts. So she leads him down to the basement where she listens to the actually turn it a little past on. It's old. Yeah. A little bit more. Pilot light goes on, and he's like, oh, okay.
I guess I do believe you. And he turns to what he thinks is the ghost, and he goes, thank you. And she's like, there's more than one. He's like,
oh, so like what, there's like two?
She's like,
she looks around the room, which has like maybe 10 ghosts in there. There's more than before.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
2. Later that night, Sam is in bed. Comes in to tell her that he's covered up the hole in Hetty's wall.
And then we cut to see how he did that. And he's walked into the room and he's hung up the painting of her husband.
He's like 2 birds with 1 stone.
And he's nodding very confidently to himself, but a job well done.
He turns back to the room and goes, you're welcome.
Yeah. He's like, if you're here, I just want you to know you're welcome. Take that down right now.
This is yours. So Jay's talking to her, and Isaac interrupts.
Jay asks what she's doing. She's like, I'm working on a little project. And then Isaac's like, no, more writing. Let's work.
Because it wasn't what I assumed it would be based off the description of the show. Episode. Five seasons, I think?
4 or 5, some shit like that. So people seem to think it has legs at the very least.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I might watch more of it like casually. I'm not like super interested in it. I will say, watching that I need to go finish watching iZombie before it comes off of Netflix.
Yes, because the main actress in the US version of Ghosts is
Who the actress
Rose
playing
McIver.
Sam? Yeah, Rose McIver. She plays Sam. And she's also. Oh yeah, I need to go finish watching that before they take it off of Netflix at the end of the week.
I was literally going to ask you if that's why you were watching iZombie. And I was like, nah, that's definitely why. So I didn't even bother fucking asking.
It is why. I started restarted iZombie like maybe a month and a half ago, and about a month ago.
Yeah.
And then
Into the Arrowverse.
Arrowverse has been like consuming my life in a very destructive manner. And so I want to finish iZombie before it comes off Netflix at the end of the week. Because Netflix comes off of Netflix. Sorry, iZombie comes off of Netflix at the same time PlayStation pulls on Concord.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Concord is, look it up. It's funny.
It has no effect on your life whatsoever, or anyone's life soon.
Fair enough. Justice, what did you think of the second episode of Ghosts?
I think it was good. Still had its good comedic moments that the first one had as well. And like the physical humor is actually pretty great from all the ghosts. Honestly, it doesn't feel like a step up or anything from the first episode. It very much feels the same. No drop in quality, no improvement in quality. Still just fine. I think I would probably watch more of it. But yeah, like you, I think I would watch it much more casually. It's not a show I have any interest in binging or sitting down and watching, constantly, like casually here and there. Definitely seems like a watch.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, I guess that means it's time to do the sign-off, where we tell you how to contact us if you want to contact us. And I guess that means it's time to do the sign-off, where we tell you how to contact us if you want to contact us. So as always, there's a myriad of ways to do that.
You can find us on X and Blue Sky at Copilots Review.
You can email us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
You can find links to our Gmail, our Twitter, our Blue Sky, our YouTube, our Patreon, our Discord by going to copilotsreview.simplecast.com. Or, in the circumstance where you are listening to this in the far-flung future, or even a few days from now, because who knows, life is weird and fucked up, and we are dead. You can always try a Ouija board.
You can try summoning some ghosts. But otherwise, thank you for flying with us.
And please, fly again soon.